Hey, yo, it's your boy Sam Duke,
It's your man Tell McKill.
It's your boy Warren P.
and you were listening to another great episode of You
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 Good, Bruh?
good,
good, bruh?
bruh? I was waiting on Warren.
But yeah, man, thank you all for listening. Let's go ahead and start by telling you guys to like, share, subscribe to our page, You Good Bruh Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, You Good Bruh Pod on Twitter. Thank you all so much for your support. With that being
Mm-hmm.
said, we're about to get into another topic today. Real quick, you know, I think first and foremost, we started this podcast. One the beauty of starting this podcast is about mental health, mental awareness. Helping people understand how to deal with things, and we've had all kinds of conversations on this pod. And
Right.
the beauty of it is it opens up a vulnerability. It opens up space for us to discuss things that are going through life, and also I believe that the goal of what we do is to help our brothers and our sisters that listen, to gain a little bit more resilience as far as life is concerned. But somewhere along the road, I think that we've had little small conversations about this, about the abuse of what people discuss when it comes to mental health. We talk about how people live. The thing about it is when people learn things, sometimes we learn things and we use them in ways that they were never intended to be used. You
Mm.
get what I'm saying? Like, you know, because like my boy McKill always says, it's about when the good life is the goal, right? And so when you start talking about mental health and going to therapists and whatever the case may be, is to ensure that you have what it takes to ensure that you can have a good life, to be more
Okay.
resilient, to be better at what, to overcome certain obstacles when it comes to life. And unfortunately, there are some, and I'm not gonna say all, but I just think there's some people, and you may have come across them, that sometimes they use the therapy, they use the terminology, they use the area of the psychosocial interactions in the words to kind of create this space where they're either always the victim and things are always going bad and things are
Mm-hmm.
you know it's, and so I got these videos, man, and I think and it's funny because the beauty of doing this podcast is as you podcast, people just send you the stuff related to your podcast.
Right. They were like,
And
"What do you
so
think about this?"
and so because people, first of all, multiple people sent me the same one. That's usually the telltale sign, like somebody want to hear us talk about this shit. But not just that, but it's like, and then sometimes I get some of the same types of videos during
Yeah.
the same time frame, which also gives me a hint, like maybe we should discuss this a little bit. And so I got two videos I'm gonna share with y'all, and then we can kind of dive into you know what uh what is changed and what is going on with the culture when it comes to uh when it comes to this mental health shit, man. I mean, we the goal is to to talk about this as in the honest way as we possibly can. And so I think that it would be beneficial to us to just really just be real about what's going on in this mental health world, mental health space. So listen up and hear what these two posts have to say, and we'll be right back.
Maybe it's just me, but I thought that the goal was to create awareness, normalize seeking help, to make therapy accessible, to remove the shame around mental health struggles. But somewhere along the way, destigmatizing mental health has taken on a life of its own. And now, instead of people getting better, I just feel like people are getting worse. We didn't just normalize therapy, we turned it into a personality trait. We didn't just encourage self awareness, we turned every feeling into a diagnosis. And instead of using mental health language as a tool, we started using it as a shield, justifying avoidance, self-sabotage, and emotional fragility in the name of protection. Now, everything is a trigger. Everything is trauma. People say, I can't do this. It's bad for my mental health. When what they really mean is, this is hard and I don't want to deal with it. But since when did mental health become about avoiding life instead of learning how to handle it? Good mental health isn't about comfort. It's about capacity. It's about having the emotional, the psychological, and the cognitive range to handle life as it comes. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Your mental health should be challenged. If you can't withstand stress, discomfort, or uncertainty, then you don't have mental strength. You have emotional dependence based on the right circumstances. And life does not care about your circumstances. And I'm serious, y'all. Like, really, ask yourself, has your mental health journey actually made you stronger, or has it made you retreat further into protecting yourself in the name of good mental health?
That's the first one.
Mm.
Second one.
You don't need a therapist. You need to stop acting like life is a medical condition. Bad days aren't trauma, and feeling lost isn't a disorder. And not getting your way, that's not oppression, that's Tuesday. People have started diagnosing normal struggles like their psychological crisis, when in reality, life comes with stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. That's not dysfunction, that's just being alive. Therapy has its place, but so does resilience. At some point, you have to stop overanalyzing every inconvenience and start handling things like a functional adult. Because resilience isn't outdated, it's just rebranded as toxic positivity. You don't need a therapist, you need to stop acting like life is a medical.
So there's that. I hope y'all both heard that, right?
Mm.
Yes, I did.
So before we get too deep, and I'll say this: I feel like we only have one professional on the line when it comes to this, and so I'm going to point this towards you first, Mikhail.
Okay.
Where did we go wrong?
One of the why are you gonna laugh
What's that about, Warren?
Cuz, bro. Like, now I'm gonna sound like that guy again. Okay, go ahead.
No, honestly, I don't have a. Let me back up to say it this way.
Oh, if you need time, I can
Well,
go.
I'm saying it's because the way I was about to frame it, I didn't want to box you out. Like at the end of the day, when I got into destigmatizing therapy, it was trying to take the boogeyman out of it. Because people were afraid if they go to therapy, either one, that we're gonna find something wrong with you. And you know how people try to avoid, like people avoid the medical doctor, because they don't want to know why this thing is growing right here on my hip, right? Type of deal. Like they just kind of ignore it. And mental health is kind of the same way, except for people think the way worse outcomes. Like, it's almost like coming to a therapist almost means that you failed at life. You might as well just be dead. You can't handle this, so you gave up. That's what people were thinking when they thought of therapy in the modern times. Historically they thought they gonna lock you away, but in modern times it was about them admitting that they failed. So destigmatizing was about that. The way the media picked up therapy and ran with it is in a manner where they have to sensationalize everything. Therapy ain't changed. It's the same. You know what I mean? You fill out paperwork, you walk in the office, we talk about what your challenges are, and then we come up with a strategy that's grounded in science that can help you achieve whatever goal you set forth. It wasn't ever meant to be weaponized. But media does that. Media weaponized every aspect of life. Look at this. What's the 90-day marriage?
Yeah, you talking about 90 Day Fiance?
90 Day Fiance. That's weaponization of marriage. Like, think about how they are challenging the status quo on being in a lifelong relationship.
Love is Blind, Married at First Sight.
So therapy is just following the same. When it got popular, media took over, and everybody and their mama wanted to be, a life coach and this, that, and the third. But nobody's really talking about comorbidity of conditions. They're not talking about how addiction impacts children. You know, like when you get to what therapy is, they're not talking about that. So what you got, Warren? I ain't, you know, that's my first take.
I mean, everything you said is correct, my brother. Um, First and foremost, I want to say this: people do need therapy. Like, I am a strong advocate of therapy. I've done individual therapy. I've done couples therapy.
Mm-hmm.
There are friends I have kind of motivated to practice therapy, and they've done it, and they've called me and told me, hey, thank you for that, for being vulnerable about your experiences. There are some family members and close friends that I am pushing to get therapy as we speak that have some of those negative connotations about what therapy is, how people will view them. And I consistently tell them, hey, that's your journey. Everybody needs help. Like, shit, if you fuck up your ankle, you fuck up your knee, you're gonna go to rehab. Sometimes mentally we just have shit that mentally injures us that we
Yeah.
need assistance with so we can build and grow and move forward. So now that that's out the way, I am an advocate of therapy. Going back to what you asked. Now, when I used to start seeing on my Twitter days, I used to see, and I apologize, ladies, some of this is going to sound a little misogynistic. But to that, I want to say I'm starting to see it a lot more in men often. I saw it in the women, but I'm seeing it a lot more in men now. When I used to see all these terms, I'm like let's take gaslighting, what's it, financial abuse, what's another one they used to use? To me, I was like, okay, we're just finding new ways to avoid accountability. Um, I'm like, okay, it's gaslighting. Like, I can tell y'all a funny story between me and my wife. All right. So for, let's say, 3 years straight, I was telling her the same thing about what was going on with me in regards to her. And one day she says to me, I just feel like you're gaslighting me when you tell me that. She's like, you keep saying the same thing over and over again. You're trying to make me feel away. And I was like, well, it's how I feel. Like, how am I gaslighting you? This is how I feel. You don't want to believe it, but because I keep telling you the same thing and you don't want to accept this is what it is, it can sound like gaslighting. And that's just like something small, but I say a lot of times something sounds like gaslighting when you're avoiding accountability. Because think about it. Let's take a regular scenario with some of family and friends. You can tell them the right thing to do, what makes sense to everybody, but if they don't accept it, you're the bad person. Oh, I got this, I got that, whatever, self-diagnosis that they gave themselves, that is now a trend. Like, I say another thing. Most people lie to themselves. We're seeing this more and more day after day.
Hold on. Correction.
What?
Everybody lies
Okay,
to
all right.
themselves. Everybody lies to themselves every day. We tell a lie to ourselves at least
Okay.
twice, I'll say. But
I'll
definitely
give you
more.
that. Well, can you agree with this? Some people lie to themselves more than others.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody does it. Some go off the rip. They go far. Now there's a condition for that, but we ain't talking about that.
No, I agree with you. And as I stated earlier, I was making my jokes to the ladies, but I'm starting to see this a lot more in men because after talking to women, it's like, well, Warren, why don't you think about this? And then you start seeing how certain dudes move, and you like, oh shit. I was kind of, on my side of the fence, just seeing it that way. Now I'm seeing it in men like, oh no, Shorty was right. She was right too. Oh damn, these dudes is really avoiding accountability in a lot of areas as well, and making up all these excuses. Like, we talk about the going back to the mental resiliency of things. I have gotten on this podcast and shared my story about life. I'm on this new thing where understanding yin and yang, to where it's like, look, there's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. I'm going to be sad some days. I'm going to be happy some days. It's not because I'm this, I'm that, or somebody did this to me, somebody did that to me. Don't get me wrong. Things that happen to us in life have that effect. May have long-term effects, short-term effects. But I just feel like, as opposed to getting over those things, with all the different terminologies and people actually not reading and doing the work that they need to do, we have just most of us have become better victims as opposed to overcoming. And that's what I see.
Let's go from there. I gotta talk. We gotta talk about this. The becoming better victims. That is because I mean I know Mikhail, you talked about the weaponization of therapy in the media, right?
Mhm.
But and I do believe that that's a thing. I don't think it's not a thing, but I think that what these individuals are talking about, to be honest with you, are weaponization of therapy by your clients. It's the weaponization of therapy by the people that have come and sit in your chair, or people that have come and sit in other people's chair, or have listened to, or have gotten guidance from you, and then they take it and they use it in the wrong way. One is skirting responsibility, as Warren may say. Two is like you said, creating themselves to become a better victim. Meaning, it's almost like people that go to church and get the message, get the word, and then they go out into the world and they just worse. They're just like you can't even tell they go to church. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and there's some people that go sit in Mikhail's chairs like I've done my work, and they go out into the world and
Let me be
and they're
clear.
and
My
they're just
clients ain't
straight.
doing that.
I mean, look.
You trying to
I,
fuck up the
I,
bread?
I
No,
say
no,
that.
no. It's not even that. I'm telling
No,
you,
I'm just
when
joking.
they
no.
I'm
see
joking.
this, no, when they see this, they gonna see you a couple of DMs. They're like, nah.
Look, that ain't me. No, I mean, first and foremost, I will say this, and I'm using Mikhail as a as a
I'm the
as a
convenience.
metaphor. He's a
Okay.
metaphor for the industry right now. And
Oh God.
it's not him personally because I
Yeah.
send people to Mikhail because I know the type of work he does. But what I'll say is this: like, it is those people that they've gone to therapy. Just people wake up and go to church just to say they went to church. And I ain't been to church in years, but
Yeah.
I'm a good damn person. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't whether I step foot in that church or not, get the word or not. I am going to be a good person Monday through Saturday, or Monday through Sunday. That now there's some that go on Sundays and then Monday they're unbearable. You can't deal with them. They can't.
Hold on.
You know
Wait, after they leave the church.
after they after they leave the church, they at McDonald's cussing somebody out because they forgot extra mac sauce or whatever it may be. What I'm saying is like it's the people that don't apply it and they go into the world and create this. They go into the world and they're just as toxic as the toxicity they're saying the world is giving them.
Right.
And
But see, I got to push back a little bit.
yeah, of course.
Like, so here's the pushback. It's like with your example with the church. I feel like you kind of putting the church and therapy in this framework where the society, like, say they go to church, they leave church, they cuss people out, and they be like, "Dang, I just saw the joke in church. I told these jokes that church ain't nothing. Church ain't nothing. Look at the people that go to church."
Yeah,
And what ends up happening, we end up prosecuting something that's inherently good because of an individual.
that's true. That's true.
Speech
So,
on it.
so,
But
so that's what I'm hearing happening with therapy because, gaslighting, that was a term that was originally used back in the 1930s, right? And that's what I mean by media. I mean social media. In modern language, that's called manipulation.
agreed,
Right.
agreed.
So what happened is when therapy got popular in media, the journalists and the people that are content creators went out there and found all this psychological language so that they could sound highly intelligent and credible, and gaslighting was reborn.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mikhail. But we got to speak to this other piece though,
Well,
because
that's what
we got to speak to the people who come in and they weaponize their therapy. Meaning, for instance, they're when she said, it's not trauma, it's just Tuesday. You get what I'm saying? It's like, look,
yeah.
man, we got to be able to sift through that. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
We have to be able
so
to,
I'm gonna
for
present this
instance,
to you. Let me
I,
present. I'm gonna
yeah, go
present.
ahead, go ahead.
There's an aspect of life that I don't think people are really acknowledging when they again try to prosecute therapy versus the individual. Like the people that will come into therapy and sit down and do their thing and feel like, oh, thank you, Mr. Therapist, and go out into the world and I want you to understand that you are emotionally abusing me, and this, they're throwing these words. That person may have a personality disorder. They do. People with personality disorders, sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, all the people, schizophrenics, all the things that you could think of come to therapy. They are still part of the real world. Most of the conditions that I listed out to you are manipulative disorders. They take information. They're highly intelligent people. Most CEOs have personality disorders. Sorry, CEOs. I'm just keeping it real. At least I'll say the CEOs I've come across. I'm sorry. Because I don't want to get sued.
It's like, look, this is.
But there's a level of dishonesty that they have to have, or that they operate with, to manipulate, to be successful. And that's what it boils down to. That's why you have, when you see these certain individuals on TV, you're like, how in the hell they got money? It's because they don't have a problem lying in the moment or manipulating the situation. So yes, there are people that'll come to therapy, come learn the language, go out into the world, misuse it, just like they misuse the word in the Bible. Christian nationalists, I'm talking to you. And that's human nature. That's not the industry. Yeah. That's not church. That's not therapy. That is somebody that is using something that make themselves sound a little bit more intelligent and a little bit more convincing when they're trying to manipulate somebody. But people that come to therapy, I want you to understand something. Can I present something?
Of course.
Hold on.
Of course, my black brother.
I just wanted to, I didn't know if it was going to do it. Let me make sure.
Yeah, it should let you.
While he's getting that up,
here it is.
I want to, oh, never mind. He got it up quick. Oh, no, I was just going to send a special shout out to the Deltas at SE. Y'all met my wife like 2 weeks ago, and they were commenting about the podcast. And one of them eloquently put was like, yeah, we were just talking about the podcast. My wife comes, she's like, I know my husband sound crazy on there. She goes, no, he just has different takes from time to time. I wouldn't say he was crazy. And I was like, I know I be sounding like a nigga on there. It's cool. Well, I didn't want to say it, but yeah. So shout out to y'all.
Oh, let me see if I could
how to make it larger. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it bigger.
And celebrating 30 years, by the way. Shout out to y'all. SC, I fuck with y'all.
And root for SC.
All right.
I don't know. Let me see.
Like, you may have to zoom in yourself, brother. But yeah,
I
go
don't know
ahead.
if I can. This is the whole screen.
Oh,
this is the whole thing. Like,
okay, yeah.
So this is really just for effect, okay?
Yeah.
What we're looking at is this colorful wheel represents.
I need my microscope.
Hold on, let me see if I can get it there. Oh wow, that's too big.
There you go.
For those listening on the pod, Mikhail is showing us.
This is the feeling wheel. This is the feeling wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is
still
basically
trying to make it out myself.
So this is basically the human experience broken down in colors and sections with English words. So everybody knows how to make a sad face, a mad face, a scared face, joyful, powerful, peaceful. Like, if I did this exercise with my kids. Like, show me a mad face, and they frown up. Like, people communicate, and that's technically what we're trying to achieve in therapy. People that lack emotional intelligence cannot communicate. They only know one of two or maybe three actual how to express these emotions. That's why most people, when they get scared, it may look like mad, or people when they sad, it may look like mad, right? So when you come,
that's what they know,
because that's what they know, and that's what society supports. Like, specifically men, we're not really allowed to be sad, but we can be mad, and we damn sure can't be scared, but we can be mad, and it be acceptable, right?
Yeah.
So what therapy was supposed to do was open up this window to sadness, this window to scare. And it's important because each emotion has a job. We know what the job of madness is, right? Like, to get people's attention, to get people to stand down, to whatever. That's an aggressive emotion. But do you know what purpose of sadness is?
Nah, give me. I need that.
Nah, brother, educate me.
Well, the purpose of
Educate me.
sadness, the purpose of sadness is to make you appreciate the most important relationships in your life. It helps you identify who's important to you. When you're not sad about somebody leaving, that person wasn't important to you.
I don't
would like to
disagree with
say
that.
The movie, what was it? I watched the first one.
You watched Inside Out.
Inside Out.
You finally watched it. You got the.
I gotta watch the second one, but I had watched it like 2 months ago, and I forgot to like bring it back on the pod. But what Mikhail just tried to share on the page, it was too small to see. Watch Inside Out by yourself, family, whatever. But it helps break down that to whereas you understand it at all ages. Like it was very educational, like that, especially the sadness part, like that, how they just give them a little bit. They tried to keep sadness away, and it's like, nah, like you need this a part of life to understand, as I was alluding to earlier about the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
it's a lot of shit that's good in my life, but sometimes bad things happen, and I'm at a place to where it's like, you know what, while this is occurring, like, God, I do appreciate you for allowing me to have all these other things, because I know people who just stay in this one place and only focus on the negative things when there's so many positive things that are going around in their life, which to me is part of mental resiliency. Like and I would like Mikhail's thought process on this. All right. So it's a Facebook post. I don't remember it word for word, but they were saying how, let's say something bad happens to you, and somebody says to you, well, you know what, man, I want you to think about it this way. Like, I know this occurred, but hey, man, you know, your family's doing well. You got a great job. Like, you know, let's try focusing our energy on that. We can deal with this situation, but you know what? Let's try to move forward as opposed to just focusing on the negative. And then the post, I forgot the term that was used, one of those made up terms, but they was trying to say how this is emotional manipulation as opposed to
toxic positivity.
There it was.
That's it.
Oh my God, I started to push my goddamn laptop when I seen that. But yeah, toxic positivity. And I'm like, hold on, like, so I'm just supposed to sit here and just listen to you bitch and complain for days and hours without no fucking solution, or try to encourage you to be better to get you out of this. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes when negative things occur, like, we got to sit in it. We got to sit there and think about it. But eventually, we got to move forward.
But the timetable, the problem is that your timetable is not everybody's timetable. So I'm gonna give that back to you. So since you brought up a meme, there's a meme of a dog sipping tea with fire all around him.
I like that meme.
Yeah, I like that meme.
That's the definition of toxic positivity. If you think about it, like you're in the middle of fire, you're like, oh, hi y'all. Yeah. I'm just smiling. I'm here. That's what toxic positivity
and the thing about toxic, I think the way you can kind of and not to get too deep into toxic positivity, the way you can understand what's toxic and what's not is it has to make sense. I mean, like, after somebody lose their job, you can't just be like, all right, man, you know, for instance, I'm in a position where people are losing their job. It's like, all right, guys, let's go to happy hour. Like, no, it's, you know, we're breathing, we're living, we're like, bro, every aspect. Yes, all of these things are true. We're living, we're breathing, we're still here. However, there's still bills on the way in a couple days. You know, there's still things that are not going to stop because of what you're dealing with. And that's what it's like. It's got to make sense. And even when the space where you were saying there's the need for sadness, that's the space. It's like there's a need for that. Because, like you said, Mikhail said it's more so for us to understand the value of what we have, but also for people, but also the value of what we have for what's going on in our lives as well. Yeah. You know, because we do value Some people actually value their work and value what they do and care about,
Mhm.
what they do. And so we have to be able to go into that. That's a part of that resilience, is to be sad and to come out of
Yeah.
it as well. But at the same time, I do want to make a point to just kind of get on the topic that we're discussing. I want to make sure that we
Hit it.
flesh this out.
Yeah.
The young lady said therapy was never meant to be a shield.
That's right.
And I just wanted to hear what you think about that, Mikhail, because that one kind of hit me a little bit.
Well,
She's
I
like,
mean,
it's
it's
never
not.
meant to be a.
Yeah, it's not a shield. Like for example, when I got into therapy, I needed new coping skills, meaning back to resilience, because that's what coping skills are. It's your ability to go through the use stress and distress of the day and with the least amount of damage, right? Um, because, like you said, trauma could be it's just a Tuesday. You still have to be able to get through it. So therapy wasn't a shield. A therapy was more like, um, if you will, the boot camp to becoming a soldier. We had to break stuff down to build you back up to be able to fight in this life of war and survive it as best you can, or at least be damaged the least amount. So are we shielding you from anything? Absolutely not. And depending on the type of therapy you need, it may actually be, um, some people could actually see therapy as destructive because it's disruptive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like if a couple come to you, for example, and they're like, "Hey, we need couples therapy," and I'm like, "Well, what's the issue first? Because you may come to me and then y'all end up breaking up." So it's
Yeah.
not meant to be a shield. It's not going to protect the ego of you or the image of you. It's actually going to expose you for real, and then you can make a decision whether you're with the right person or not. So that's why I don't see it that way.
I 100% agree with Mikhail, especially on the couples part. For any couples out here who are planning to get married or currently married,
Yeah.
I advise everybody to do couples therapy
You
because
gotta do it.
it helps expose your flaws, their flaws. If there's logic that may be different that you and her have going forward, like it's necessary. And as he said, you may break up, but you broke up for a reason after going to
Mhm.
couples therapy because you saw that, hey, y'all weren't in alignment. So they're helping you save, a divorce, money, whatever,
Conflict.
So yes. So
Okay, so
couples, just want to say that.
I want to add to what Mikhail was saying, though, as far as it was never meant to be used as shit. I believe that you genuinely believe that. I also, just in conversation with just individuals,
Mhm.
I love to talk to women because there's something that women have told me that now a man, before it's like women wanted a man to go to therapy. Like they want a man that goes to therapy, but then now it's like women have said, if a man is going to therapy, that's starting to be a red flag. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is the why that they give me.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is, one, I've heard that some men will make all of their emotions the woman's fault. Because they feel as
That's
if
pussy.
I mean, we know what it is, but what I'm saying is there's a space where certain men will use the fact they've been in therapy to say, "Nah, I feel this way. You made me feel this way."
Oh
You
no,
get what I'm
he ain't been
saying?
in therapy. He ain't been in therapy.
I'm telling you what I'm hearing, brother.
No,
I
I'm with
I
you.
I
I'm
I'll
with
call him
you.
pussy for you, Mikhail.
yeah,
No, I wasn't gonna say
no,
that. I'm
Mikhail is saying
saying,
he ain't been to
I
therapy
am.
because we own our feelings, right? Like that's
well,
a
checking in does not mean attending.
hello. All right, I hear
So,
that.
Talk to him.
you come to my session and
Repeat that. Checking in does not
does that
mean
mean
attending.
attendance? So that's that when somebody's saying my emotions are your fault, that's actually the literally the opposite of therapy.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
literally.
there's the thing is, it's like, okay, for instance, I've had this one individual, we had a conversation, and this guy is just like, I require transparency. Like, I require 100% transparency. And and this young lady was like, yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, but the thing about it is, once again, when you say stuff like that, you know what that comes with, right? When a woman gives you 100% transparency, you may not be ready for it. You get what I'm saying? Even if that's your requirement, you may not be ready for it. So what ends up happening is when you get that 100% transparency, and then he's mishandling the transparency, and then now it's like it's your fault because you're bringing this to me that I asked you to bring it to me, but now I can't handle the fact that you're bringing it. You get what I'm saying? So it's that there is, and that's just one example. That's just one example.
So I mentioned
But
personality disorders. There's a particular
with you.
personality disorder that can take no accountability and everything is everybody else's fault.
I know somebody going through that, right? Let me chill. Go ahead.
we all know someone, right? And then
Go
there's
ahead.
also the just the weaponization of it, as in like I've gone to therapy. I'm so sure of myself now that like certain things they feel when we talk about the shield, it's one thing to have the shield to protect yourself. It's another thing to like use the shield to bowl people over with. You get what I'm saying? Now it's like I have this shield of a higher understanding of my emotional well-being, and I'm going to bowl you over with all of the understanding that I have. And it's like, and it leaves no room for kind of growth, in the relationship sometimes. And I
So,
think that that's another thing that I'm hearing that women are kind of coming
so
into
I'm gonna say this
contact
thing.
with.
I gotta address that.
Yeah.
Hold on, Warren. I gotta address that. So you used the church earlier. Have you ever seen
Mm-hmm.
somebody get saved, like when they first get
Giving.
saved?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then when they fresh off getting saved, they hot on fire for God.
On fire,
On
baby.
fire for God. Like everything. Jesus,
Nobody.
John 9:44. John
Judging.
Hebrews 8:22.
Matthew, Mark,
Like
Luke,
Mark, Luke,
and
right,
John.
John. But over time, that kind of balances out.
Yeah.
Sometimes that does happen for therapy. Now, therapy is new for the Black community and definitely new for Black men. So yeah, they may get some new terms, some new words, some new understanding their triggers a little bit, and they may be hot for therapy, hot for like you be hot for the Lord.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like it's kind of like when you learn something new that you didn't know before, but you always wanted to know. You get passionate about it. Now, I don't want people to mistake passion for manipulation. Sometimes the women that they're talking to need to be in therapy themselves. And what's happening is that what men used to accept as norms, they may be giving some pushback on, and the women don't like it because they're kind of getting called to the carpet, and they're just like, well,
being
if
held accountable.
right, they're being held
But
accountable, and now they're trying to blame therapy instead of saying, well, let me see if
I would.
if that's what's
I,
going on.
It can be a combination of both.
I like to be careful about that.
I
I think
hope
it
so.
could be a combination of both. Like
Yeah.
and I think that's the that is what I don't want to get, because the thing about it, we've had the conversation about women and accountability. We know that it's a thing. Like we know that's a space where it's difficult, to a degree for
It's
women
one of the
sometimes.
challenges. There's
Yeah,
one of
it's
the
a challenge. It's a challenge. We've talked about it professionally. We talked about it personally. However, I think that
New
we
niggas.
also we do want to be fair in understanding that there is a growth aspect to the interactions between men and women when it comes to a man that's been to therapy and understands his emotions. And also we don't. It's like but there's also a point when it can be weaponized. And sometimes it's somebody who's a natural manipulator. Like that's just who I am. It's a part of my it's a part of my personality. I'm not gonna lie. I know myself enough to know that I know how to manipulate. I come into any situation being able to manipulate it if I would like to. And sometimes I just think that when we talk about the weaponization of therapy and the weaponization of emotions, I do think that men can do a good job of kind of, now that they understand it more, can kind of be like, hey, I understand gaslighting, and I'm gonna put you in a position where you have to gaslight me. You
Hold
know
on.
what I'm saying?
I have to interject there.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you 100%. There was a podcast many moons ago when we were just talking about, reformed hoes, and one of the guys on there, I was like, you was a dream seller to these chicks. Because we went around, and we were like, hey, because I will always remember y'all asked us at the end of the podcast, do you think you were wrong for how you treated women when you were in your whole phase? And I was like, no. Like, everybody else from around the table said, yeah, I could have been better. I said, no, I gave everybody a choice. I was honest with them. At the end of the day, they chose to do their shit. Don't put that on me. And to this day, I feel this way. But I'm going to go back to that dream seller conversation. So just imagine those dream sellers going to therapy, getting all this new information. So when ladies say, hey, these niggas is out here weaponizing therapy, oh, I'm sure some of them are, because I know how some of these niggas operate. So I will never discredit a woman saying, hey, this man's weaponizing therapy, because some of you niggas ain't shit. You've never been honest when it come to women. So now you got new tools to because there are scenarios. I hate the term gaslighting, but I do know there are some niggas out here that do that and do it very often. Do I think it's an overused term? Yes. But at the same time, oh yeah, it's pieces of shit out here. Yeah, it's niggas who will take any and everything to get over, not just on women, on other men in business.
But
hell, if they dating men to get over.
But you gotta understand something. Those individuals that you speak of have a wide effect area because this is what they do all day, every day.
Yeah.
How many souls do they come in contact with? Oftentimes, we get generalized. The Black community is generalized as a criminal community, right? We just always on the up. When in actuality, when you look at the data, it's less than 1% of us that are active in the criminal justice system.
That's true. So what you're saying is it's like the boys that out here stealing in the car. They stealing 500. They're breaking into 500 cars a day, but it's only 3 of them motherfuckers.
Right.
And now we're saying so these niggas swiping right all day long,
right?
Fucking women up. Bro, I love the analogy. I love that analogy. Let me ask you a question, Mikkel, because you're one of the. I'm certain you follow some of your like clients online, and I want to, without getting too personal. Are there ever any instances like you have to be like, nigga, cut that shit out? You doing that shit again? Like,
to answer your question, yes, there's one, and I, if I'm really transparent, is a frat brother of ours. And that's why I followed him. He became a client after the fact. Mm-hmm. I do not follow my other clients, and they be trying to friend me.
They try to friend you.
No. And one of my clients got mad at me because she's actually a celebrity, and she was just like, "You didn't see my doing this?" I said, "I don't follow you." She's like, "What do you mean you don't follow me?" Like she just went into this whole thing. But
that's funny.
Some therapists don't do that, and I'm one of them. But and to your point though, I did bring information that I was aware of from their social media into the session because they just could not see what I was trying to get them to see.
Yeah.
But as a result, and I had them, pull up their social media right there and look at it. And I had them analyze if this was somebody else's page, what would you think? And it seemed to work. They've changed what they document, meaning what's important to them, because that's some of the things, that's some of the work that we're doing. But that's kind of what I'm getting at is like, at the end of the day, those that do dirt, that's what they do. Just like they always say, a cop gonna catch you because that's their job. Like they wake up, that's the people that are pussy ass, fuck ass, nigga, whatever you want to label them. This is what they do. Who?
Dream sellers. I can't stand.
Dream.
Okay,
dream sellers are tough. They're tough to deal with.
Dream seller, like that. I like that. That's a little. I can use that around my kids.
Dream sellers reset the market, bro. I hate that shit. I mean, I know I'm out the game, but boy,
I hate
women running the dream sellers. Boy, they ain't trying to hear shit. They want proof of everything after a dream.
Yeah,
but you understand what I'm saying. So yes, if they're smart and they're savvy and they're on social media and they're looking at what's hot right now and women are talking about going to therapy, boom, I'm gonna use therapy as a way to get in.
Yeah.
It's just like they oh, women going to church, they going to see House of Hope and all these other, they going to see this minister, that minister, Jamal Bryan, all them. Oh, I go to that church.
I know that. Yeah, that's my pastor.
That's my pastor.
That's my
And now she's gonna be
I
like,
hate
church
y'all
ain't
niggas.
nothing. But you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
I get
I
you.
so
I want to be
I don't,
on record. I hate y'all niggas that do that, by the way.
yeah,
Well,
and I don't
They
think
resetting the market. They resetting the market
the
for niggas that
resilience.
actually love God.
That's what I'm saying. And they making a mess of it. So the resilience, to the point of resilience, therapy is supposed to teach you how to be resilient. It's not supposed to be something that you say gets you to leave stress. Like, part of my therapy, I do psychoeducation in my therapy sessions. And we talk about stress. There's two types of stress. There's a good stress and then there's a bad stress. The good stress is called eustress, eustress, eustress. Eustress is what says, I'm hungry, I'm cold, I'm angry. Like it lets you know something needs to happen, right? And typically what happens is a good thing. Especially if you're hungry and you cold, you go put a jacket on and grab a sandwich, right? Distress is the one we're supposed to kind of give you some tools to help you move through. So for one of my clients that has real difficult, or any client that has a real difficult time with change, meaning everything from getting older to breaking up with a girl to any of that stuff, you know what I had him do? I had him take cold showers. I had him go when you get up in the morning, you go take a shower. As soon as you wash off, as soon as you soap up, turn that water cold to rinse off. And it was tough for him to do it. But at the end of the day, he recognized that I'm cool with change. Like I was able to accept change. And he said, so it got to the point where the cold shower didn't even hurt him anymore. Or it's not hurt him, but it didn't bother him anymore. That's the level of resilience that we talked about. That you may actually jump in cold water. Are you going to freak out? Or are you going to just kind of settle in? So that's what resilience is, the ability to settle in. Ooh, that was long. I got long.
That was good.
Nah, that was real.
that was real.
We
That's
needed
good.
to hear that.
So
I apologize. I did have a question to ask you in regards to that.
Okay.
Would you say resiliency or accountability? Because I had a recent situation occur in my life, and somebody stated they're taking full accountability for their actions, but then said, man, I have this, I have that, and then PTSD, childhood trauma, all this stuff. So don't judge me, but I take full accountability after listing a bunch of things that seem like excuses. So if a person has gone through something and they do unjust things to someone else, should they be excused for what their trauma has brought to them, or should they still be held accountable for their actions?
I've never embraced the idea of excusing behavior. There's going to be consequences. Accountability for me is it's more about taking ownership and being able to have consequences. You know what I mean? Like that. There's kind of part of the word. It's part of the definition. People telling you about their struggles, their challenges in the past that help shape the things that they have to take accountability for. I don't necessarily see it as an excuse. I see it as an explanation. As long as they're willing to say, you know what, I fucked up, and it came from the fact that I got fucked up thinking because of my past. Them saying I fucked up is the accountability. And I just want you to, empathize, at least understand where my fucked up thinking came from. Like, it's not part of my character. It's part of what I'm trying to fight through. So he's talking, that's more of a future conversation. Like, do what you will, but please understand that, this is something I'm working on. My accountability is me acknowledging it. Like we tell people in addiction, the first step to being sober is admitting that you have a problem. That doesn't absolve them of the DUI. It doesn't absolve them of them having whatever their pathology is that led them to being an alcoholic. It's just explanation so that you understand that I didn't just wake up like this. Like this is how I got here.
It is a part of how I got to the point of fucking you over. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. It's like it's how I came to the decision that I was gonna fuck you over.
Every villain has an origin story.
Oh yeah, sure.
Every villain, man. With that being said, man, look, first things first, because I like to thank you for taking one of it's not a beating because I think you enjoy these type of discourse.
Yeah.
But it's a proverbial back and forth about the line of work that you do because
it's the email. What did you do today?
Some of them folks leave y'all offices, and I say y'all metaphorically, and they are going terrorize the world.
Yes.
And so unfortunately, because of that, it's giving the essence of what you guys do a bad name, so to speak. But the good is still there. Like you said, even with church, the word is still good. What people do with it is not up to you.
It's not up to me.
And I think that's what I take away from the conversation, first and foremost. Any final words before we part, fellas?
Stop being soft. Take accountability. Be resilient. Life is hard some days. Some days are harder than others. But life is good some days. Some days are great. Some days are amazing. Like, remember, hey, at the end of the day, that day got to end. Shout out to Big Low.
Hey, on the game. Anything from you, Mikhail?
No, just if you're not in therapy, get in therapy so that you can discover for yourself what it is. Stop, buying into the hype, and see if it's something that resonates with you. I was resistant. I didn't believe in therapy until I had to go, and when I went out, my eyes was like, oh shit, wow.
Yeah.
So it's just a way for you to better understand who you are as a total person in every aspect of life. Off of that feeling wheel. If you don't know, if you can't be sad, I would like for you to be in therapy.
Hey, amen to that.
Or hell, I even go even further. If you find you're in a space where you don't find yourself getting angry, I need to see you in therapy. Like, you need to be a whole human being.
Hey, and check out that feeling wheel. Shit is dope. It has so much associated with it, and how much the feelings branch out. And it's about complexity of the feelings and the beauty of the complexity.
Right. We are a higher creature, and we need to act like it.
Hey, amen to that. For more conversations like these, please like, share, subscribe. It's You Good Bro Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You Good Bro Pod on Twitter. Please share, like, subscribe.
All podcast
friends about us. We're on all the platforms, folks. With that being said, I am Sam Dupe, and I am good.
Hey, I'm Tail Mikhail. I'm good.
I'm Warren P, and I'm good.
And just like that, fellas, women, people, we out.
We out.
Bro.